Hello friends, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you'll consider subscribing to my channel if you're enjoying the instruction that I'm giving you. So as you guys can tell by the title, this video is going to be a little bit different. I won't be playing or teaching, but I'm going to be going over all of the books that I read this year. I read 14 books this year, which is pretty crazy for me. I literally don't remember the last time I read a book, but that was one of my resolutions this year, was to read one book per month, and I'm happy to say that I surpassed that. I've read 14 books. So I've divided the books into categories. I have 4 categories: personal development, business, money, and of course, music. So I'm going to start with the personal development books first. There are 3 in this category. So the first book is Mastin Kipp's Claim Your Power. This was the first book that I read this year, and I'm so glad that it was. I bought this book kind of on a whim, actually. I saw just someone reading it, kind of like an influencer reading it on social media, and they were saying how good it was, and you know, I had just decided to try to read a book a month, so I was like, okay, guess I'll start with that one. I really felt like, I don't know if I want to say like fate or I don't know, but I cannot recommend this book enough. This book truly changed everything for me. If you're someone who struggles with not feeling good enough, with unworthiness, not really caring about yourself, this book really is for you. It's a very interactive book. You have to have a journal along with it, and every day you're kind of thinking about something different and thinking about your past and thinking about ways that you kind of maybe ways that people take your power away from you. So ways that you're people pleasing, ways that you're feeling sorry for yourself. I feel like I'm not doing this book justice, but seriously, this was the best book I read all year, and if you only read one book, let it be this one. I highly recommend this book. I give it like 1,000 out of 10. So the next book in my personal development category is I Hope I Screw This Up by Kiyosaki. So I actually bought this book because I was listening to an episode of the Ed Milet podcast. Highly recommend his podcast as well. He talks about a lot of personal development and business stuff. And Kiyosaki was a guest on there. Kiyosaki was actually a comedian for the longest time, and on the podcast he kind of just talked about like quitting everything one day and to pursue his passion. And in this book he really talks about connecting with yourself and doing what you know to be right, and what you know will be best for you, like even if you're scared, even if your brain is telling you no. Huge reason why I decided just to go all out on my Instagram and stuff, because before I started my Instagram, like this Suzuki violin teacher one, if you don't follow me, you definitely should. Little promo. Like I never posted on social media. I'm not a huge poster at all. It's always been something that like I wanted to do, but I feel like everyone, like we're scared, right? We don't want to be judged. We don't want the negative comments and feedback. This book will teach you how to deal with that. Basically just say screw them. So I highly recommend this book. I'd probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's good. All right, last in my personal development category is this book, Attached. This is all about relationships. It covers the 3 attachment styles. So if you are having trouble with relationships, whether you are in a relationship or single, I do think this is a good book. It's a really easy read. I read this one pretty fast. It was good, but and it was informative, but it wasn't like crazy amazing, so I would give it like a 7 out of 10. Next, let's go to books about money. So I have 3 books in this category as well. The first is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by Harv Ecker. Highly recommend this book as well. This was probably the best money book that I read all year. It's not really like financial advice. It's all about like the inner game of money. He talks a lot about how we have kind of a money blueprint, right? We've all grown up with adults and people around us talking about money. Maybe you've heard like, oh, I can't afford it, or rich people are the devil. Things that happened to you when you were younger can have a bigger effect on you than you think. So it's all about kind of rewiring your brain in that way. He has, I believe, like 11 principles of good, like money mindset. And he also has a bunch of declarations here in this book about money that I actually wrote down and I say every day. There's things like, I commit to being rich. I have a millionaire mind. It's all about reprogramming your money mindset, basically. So highly recommend, 10 out of 10. Next, I have The Guide to Understanding Money and Investing, and this is by the Wall Street Journal. This just reminded me, I read this book because I read another book, and this was recommended in that book, and I didn't have that book in my stack, so I actually read 15 books, just saying. But I've been kind of getting into investing. I didn't know anything about it before this year, and this book was really good at just explaining everything, like stocks, bonds, municipal funds, everything. It's kind of like a textbook. It's very dense. There's a ton of information in it, even though it's kind of a tiny book. And a little bit of it is outdated when it was talking about like how stocks are traded, because again, like this is in the 90s, I think, maybe even 80s. But if you're curious on just like the basics of investing, highly recommend this book. I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10. So this is the book I forgot. How could I forget this one? Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I'm not sure how to say that. I'm sorry, Robert. I loved this book. It was so good. First of all, it's so easy to read. He has a lot of funny stories in there. And basically the whole gist of the book is poor people invest in liabilities. So things like cars and houses and clothes. And rich people invest in assets like stocks and real estate. Fill up your asset column, as he says. So highly recommend this book as well. 10 out of 10. And last in my money category, this was also a recommendation I read at the back of Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's Creating Wealth by Robert G. Allen. This is all about real estate. Now, I am not in a place in my financial career, I don't know, where I am thinking about investing in real estate, but so for that reason, I think it's kind of like, I think I just need to like refer back to it, when I am actually going to invest in real estate, because it has a lot of really good tips, really practical advice. So if you are looking to invest in real estate, this is a good book. I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10, honestly, because it was long and the print is like really small, and it was kind of, there's a lot of things I didn't actually understand, because I never bought a house or mortgages or anything like that, but it was still good. All right, now we're on to the business category. I have 5 books in this category. The first one that I read was Rich 20-something, Ditch Your Average Job, Start an Epic Business, and Score the Life You Want by Dipiazza. This is a good book. Definitely recommend it. It's kind of more beginner level. So I read this back in like February or March when I was kind of just starting my social media presence, and it was really helpful. Lots of really good tips in here, really actionable tips that you can take to grow your following and grow your business. So I liked it. I would probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10. The next one that I read was Why Now is the Time to Crush It, Cash In on Your Passion by Gary Vaynerchuk, I think is how you say it. This was not a good book. This is the worst book that I read all year. It was literally just like this long of Gary V like talking about himself. I did not like this book. Do not recommend. 0 out of 10. All right, next book that I read was Good to Great by Jim Collins. This was a good book. It's really more based on like companies. He talks a lot about companies and how companies can be great, which I think can be applied to like people too. But it was really dense. The print again was really small, and I just felt like there was a lot of information that didn't really pertain to me right at this moment. So I'd probably give it like a 5 out of 10. Next one, The Content Code by Mark Schaeffer. This was a really good book, especially if you are in this social media kind of space. Has so many ideas for making good content, like literally more than I could like action more than I could implement. And it's really easy to read, a really fast read. Really highly recommend this one. I would probably give it a 9 out of 10. Last book in my business category, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert B. I don't know how to say that guy. This is actually the book I'm reading right now. I'm almost done with it. It's okay. I bought it because it was kind of, it says there right on the top, for marketers, this book is among the most important books written in years. I really don't think so. It's more about like how people are influenced, like by authority or by association, by likability, things like that. I guess you could apply it to your marketing, but for me it's kind of just I'd probably give it like a 5 out of 10. All right, last but not least, we have the music category. I have 3 books here. So the first one was the Suzuki Violinist by William Starr. This was a good book. He starts out with some kind of like anecdotes about teaching. And then at the end, he goes through all the pieces from books 1 to 5, I believe, and describes like the challenges and the teaching points. So if you're a Suzuki teacher, definitely do recommend this book. I feel like it's a pretty common standard one. Also, side note though, 2 of my pages were out of order, and I don't know if it was just like mine or if it's like how it was printed, but just watch out for that. I read was Talent is Overrated by Geoff Colvin. This one was okay. It kind of just said everything that we already know, right? Just practice and you'll get better. But it kind of went into the more like psychology behind purposeful practice and why it makes us better and things like that. So if you're interested in that, it is a pretty good book, very comprehensive. I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10. And last but certainly not least is Kids Aren't Lazy by Lauren Haley. Highly recommend this book. I saw it again just on social media and thought it looked good, and it really is. I thought it was kind of more geared towards parents than teachers, but there was still so many actionable tips. If you're a parent of a Suzuki student or just anyone, any kid learning music in general, highly recommend this book. When I have a physical studio in the future, I will have this book there. Highly recommend. I'd probably give it an 8.5 out of 10. So those are all the books I read this year. again, I'm not like a huge reader. How I kind of did it was I read at least 10 pages per day. And of course, there's some days when I didn't read, you know, and then of course there's some days when you read more. And then if you had like a book that was really easy to get through, like say Content Code, then you could read a little bit faster. But those are my recommendations. And I am on the prowl for new books for 2021. So if you have any that you just love, please leave them in the comments here below. I'm especially looking for books in the personal development and money categories. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel before you leave. And thank you for watching.